and today I'll be introducing Akshan, the newest addition to League of Legends and also a champion with truly exciting gameplay, who every time I was able to play, I had a blast. Let's dive into it. So, for runes, we're gonna start pretty simple because be honest, I did not have that much possibilities to play him because every time someone from my team tried to ban him. Anyways, Uh, best rune I found so far is going to be press the attack, because not only do you get that increased damage, but more importantly you have extremely easy way to triggering it with your Q and combined with your auto attacks in line, which obviously graduated movement speed, I will be talking about that later a bit, means that you have extremely easy way to proc it almost at any point of the game. Every single shot you fire from every single ability deals one uh, part of the free hit, meaning that this works very well with Akshan. So that's about press the attack. It just works really well with him. Then you want to go either Presence of Mind or Triumph, where I greatly prefer Presence of Mind. Because yes, you do gain that mana regen on your W, but Akshan has really low mana pool. And when you think about how often are you going to be using his abilities, and they don't have the cheapest mana costs, uh, you'll realize that having presence of mind is extremely important, at least for me. And you're gonna be using a lot of mana during laning phase once you're in team fight and you're actually getting kills jumping around with your E, throwing your Q, you're just gonna lose that mana really fast. So presence of mind for me is a must. If you feel confident without it, you can go ahead and build Triumph for a bit more survivability, but I think that presence of mind is just better. Then Alacrity also, you can exchange it for Bloodline if you want to go for full heal and sustain action. So if you would go for Bloodline, you can go ahead and get the Triumph, but after the nerfs, I think that for not recent nerfs to the Bloodline, I just think that Alacrity is much better on Akshan, and also two of his abilities scale with attack speed, meaning that it works really well for him. And lastly, you can go either Coup de Grace, or if you are going for the sustain build, you can go Last Stand. But again, Coup de Grace, Akshan is squishy, he is an ADC who just sits on mid, meaning that Coup de Grace is just the simplest choice you can make. And also the fact that he has an execute ultimate helps it a bit. For secondary tree, I every time just went for the sustain tree because even though I'm not a big fan of going full sustain Akshan, he needs some sustain. And I believe that going for Taste of Blood, at least in the lane, is gonna make your game much easier, because again you have extremely easy way to hit enemy champions either with your boomerang or your auto attacks, meaning that Taste of Blood is really good on him. And then rest of this depends on you. You can go for I Will collection, but I would not really recommend it. So you want to choose one of the hunters, and you can go either for Raveners or Relentless. Again, this is really simple. If you are playing against a champion who either is mostly focused on farming or has a really bad way of pushing the wave, you want to go for Relentless and get ganks. Otherwise, just go Ravenous and do what you have to do to survive. And lastly, for smaller runes, you want to start with attack speed, adaptive force, and armor or magic resist, depending on your matchup. That's going to be everything, and I will see you with the rest of the guide in the game. Alright, So, first off, quickly summoner spells. Akshan has a variety of them. So, first off, really a simple choice is going Ignite if you are playing against some squishy champion. I I'm not gonna make any suggestions on this, but let's just say that some immobile mage is what you're playing against. Then you want to go Ignite, or if enemy team has something like a Yume, Aatrox, anything that relies heavily on healing. It's really simple. Other option is Exhaust, which you want to go when you're going against assassins, and I would probably recommend going it every time. Because, yes, Akshan is not the greatest at dealing damage, but he can deal with champions from low to mid health. Meaning that uh, going Ignite against assassins may result in both of you killing the other, but I found out that exhaust is just much better when you're playing ADC on mid lane and you're not Tristana or Lucian who just have extremely dominant early game. So yeah, exhaust against assassins. And lastly, if you feel that you will have extremely hard laning time, you can go ahead and get teleport. So not only can you do you have easy way of resurrecting your allies, but also you have a way to get back to line. You know how teleport works. So those are the three summoner spells I would recommend for Akshan. Anyways, for the items. So you will you are a marksman, so you will want to start with Doran's Blade. I believe every game it gives Akshan AD health. Oh my goodness, what am I explaining here? Just start with Doran's Blade and health potion. Don't try to go for anything aggressive like corrupting potion. I've actually seen one guy do that, but yeah, it did not work well for him. Uh, Anyways, for your mythic item, you can in fact build either of these three, and it really depends. First off, Immortal Shield Bow is the sustain action. This is the one way to build it. I had a game where I was playing against Zed. You can take it just to get that shield. You also will probably in this matchup have the exhaust, meaning that you will definitely survive, and once that combo is gone, you can just finish him off with like with the rest of the lifeline. That increased damage. Uh, Anyways, that is Immortal Shield Bow. It is a really stable item to build, really consistent. The other item you can build is Gale Force. Gale Force is what you're gonna be building into squishy teams when you know that you will be able to 100 to 0 them really quickly, which late game with Akshan is not that hard. And also it adds to your mobility, which considering that you have three different ways to get movement speed, and your E works really well with Akshan having that one extra dash. So Gale Force is, in my opinion, the best item to build. And then there's Kraken Slayer, which Akshan has his passive, right? So Kraken Slayer is probably really good with that. I have not tried it out. I don't really like to build it on many champions. Meaning that, yes, you can go for it. I can't tell you anything about Kraken Slayer. I have not tried it out yet. I believe that obviously Akshan being able to do this every two attacks, and also he can possibly get a movement speed from it because it triggers, is really powerful, but I can't tell you how good it is. So we're gonna go with Gale Force. uh, for boots, Berserker Greaves. That attack speed is really nice. Only if you really feel like it, you can possibly go ahead and build one of the tankier boots if you want to go for that sustain action I was talking about. But that's about it. There is also the option of Ionian boots for the reduced cooldown, with you being able to spam your Q and possibly even the E, which does not have that bad cooldown if you put some cooldown reduction on it. But I think that it's pretty redundant, and most importantly, you will run through your mana really fast if you focus on spamming abilities. Meaning that I would like to go with Berserker Greaves every single game. And next, you have Execute ability, you get your W, just go with Collector. I'm not gonna be explaining it, Collector is good, but build Collector. Uh, then, after with that out of the way, uh, we can have a look at some more interesting stuff. First off, Infinity Edge is extremely good item. Go ahead and build it. It incredibly increases damage of every champion who belt squirts. So Akshan, who is building it, will be really benefiting. But before you finish it, I believe that you should get at least stopwatch. And this is not because of the glitch, at least I hope it's a glitch and they did not intend it to work this way. You know, the glitch with E when you can shoot, move, and be untargetable. Pretty much just improved Vladimir's W. Uh, but yeah, you want to build stopwatch because, and actually, I believe that on Akshan you should be building Guardian Angel every single game. Because when you are playing Akshan, it means that your team has two ADCs. That means that you are really squishy, and if enemy team sees you and they target you, you have chance of surviving uh, lower than a snail on a road during rush hour. So I believe building Guardian Angel on Akshan is real powerful. And most important reason is your W, because if you are able to survive for that little second, you can revive some of your teammates and get some value out of it. You will probably die anyways, probably, but Guardian Angel on Akshan is even more useful than on other champions, just because of the fact that Akshan has his W. And lastly, it depends on you. Uh, you are pretty low health champion, so building Lord Dominic's is a really good option. If enemy team has healing, go for Mortar Reminder. And that's about it. You can possibly go for Bloodthirster for that extra healing, but I think it's not that important. So most of the time I would recommend you to build Lord Dominic's because there will be a lot of champions that have at least well, they will have more health than you, but it's gonna happen in almost every game you see. I have 2000 health on level 18. That's lower than many normal ADCs have. So building Lord Dominic's is really safe option, and this is possibly the most unique, no, not unique, most useful and most used build you can find right now. Anyways, a quick rundown of the abilities, which probably everyone already knows, but you never know, right? So, first off, we have Akshan's Q. Well, first off, we have Akshan's passive. All two of them. First off, Akshan has a typical free hit passive. Every time you hit an enemy 3 times, you will deal a bonus damage. If the enemy is a champion, you will get a shield that scales with your AD. I was a bit afraid of this ability when the first release was there, because having another champion with scaling free hit passive was a bit scary considering that he has double attack. But the damage is fixed, meaning that it just scales with level. And only thing increasing is the shield, meaning that you the more AD you have, the more options to negate damage you have. You don't deal more damage. So that's a really nice thing. I like the way they handled it. And yes, the second part of his passive is the obvious double attack. Every time you target a enemy unit with your auto attack, pretty much well. Anytime you target anything, it works on wards too. Uh, if you wait at second, you will shoot off the secondary attack, which deals 50% of your AD on all levels, no scaling whatsoever. Cool part about it is that if you cancel the second attack, you gain movement speed, which is really powerful because first off, the secondary attack works just like Lucian. If you, for example, shoot at a low health minion, the other shot will target something else in range. And the in range is really important because if you are chasing a champion and they are in your attack range, which is not that high, by the way, you will always only shoot that one shot unless you are really faster than them. Meaning that if you shoot at one shot when you're shooting someone, it actually does it itself for you. It cancels itself, and you get that movement speed for easier chase. Meaning that Akshan is really good in chasing, and obviously you can also use this for kiting. And the the a bit important part is that during kiting, after some time, if you if they are still chasing you, you can just go ahead and kill them. But yeah, it's a really nice ability that lets you either deal damage or be fast. You can usually use this in a lane when you're playing against a skill shield based champion. So you just want to shoot off that one auto attack, and they will usually try to throw their abilities because you are locked in a place for the second auto attack. It works a bit like Senna but faster. And that means that you can just cancel it, run away, and then follow up either with an attack on them or just you just wasted their ability and can farm safely. So it's about that. Now, Akshan's Q. This, every time one calls it Sivir, I think about it more like Echo Q with a twist. So first off, you will shoot this, I don't know, mid-range projectile with air levels extremely low damage. And every time you hit an enemy, the range is extended. And then with increased speed, it returns to you. The reason I compare it to Echo is first off, the return is faster. And unlike Echo, who every time it hits a unit, the range is shortened, well, the first unit, here it extends. This ability is what you will be getting on level 1 because it allows you to hit enemy champions real easily. Both of the hits apply not only the damage but also your passive stacks, the free hit passive. Meaning that you can then easily get that one hit off because also every time you hit an enemy champion, you will get movement speed. That movement speed is constant. It is 40% on every level, meaning that if you are close enough, which during laning phase you should be to hit someone, you will then be able to deal that one auto attack, even cancel it, run away, and you have free damage. And you do not trigger. That is an important thing. You do not trigger your press D attack by this, but you do trigger passive, which is enough. And that's pretty much everything for Q. It's really simple ability and it works. Then actions W. First off, passive. When enemy champion kills your ally for 60 seconds, they become scoundrels. If uh, the scoundrel is killed within 3 seconds when you damage it, you will get 100 gold, resurrect the ally if they are not already alive, and all the other scoundrels are removed. This ability is the most controver- controversial part about Akshan. Uh, I think it is quite fine because yes, you can get those revives, those multi revives, but I also think that Akshan is not that survival heavy, so if more of his allies die, he has a high chance of dying too. The biggest problem I have with this is the 100 free gold he gets. That is one thing I would change about it right now, just reduce the gold gain. Because obviously, the reviving ally is really powerful, mostly in the late game. Early game, you sometimes don't even have a chance to revive them before you get there. But having a champion who is after fight grant you additional 100 gold just because seems a bit too much for me. So I would reduce it maybe to 50. That's best thing I have, but reduce the gold gain. Otherwise, it is passive. Work with it. You probably will see it in a use really often now. And active is a bit funnier ability. When you use it, you will be camouflaged for 2 seconds within this large circle. You can see the timer right around Akshan. Also, just a quick second on the active, the mana cost is reducing, unlike the other two. And every time you are near a terrain or a brush, you you will keep in, your camouflage indefinitely, unless you perform any action, obviously. Meaning that you have a really nice way of roaming. You have kind of escape, even though it does not grant you any movement speed, unless you are moving towards a scoundrel. Then you will get 120 movement speed, and also for some reason mana regen, which again is something I would reduce or maybe even remove because if Akshan has mana problems, you should deal with it, not just some random ability. And yeah, this ability is what you will be using when you're trying to chase your scoundrels, get your bounty, get the revives, possibly. And it is a really cool ability. I really like it, and pretty much as long as you are not stopping on the way, you can move throughout the whole map within those 2 seconds between the terrains. Uh, just a quick thing, when you are in the river, you don't even need to use the brush to get to the other side, which I think is the biggest distance in the jungle between the walls. But you import what I was trying to say is that you can stay unseen. For example, in a bush right here, when someone goes ahead towards it, you can just go ahead and kill them because they don't even see you at the start. So yeah, this W, it has really nice usage. I don't think it's that much of a problem. We already have Twitch, right? And he gets much more bonuses than Akshan does just from his active W. And anyways, lastly, the best ability of Akshan's kid, his E. First off, it's a hook. It has three casts. First cast, you will lock onto the nearest terrain. Second cast, you need to press your E in one of the directions you got. And Akshan will start moving and shooting everything that is. Let me just try it now. And start shooting at everything that is nearest, preferring champions and preferring champions that have passive stacks. Every hit of the passive will apply it, and you can move as long as you do not hit a structure, wall, or enemy champion, which I have just done. Anyways, this ability also resets when you hit when oh my god when you kill or get a takedown on a champion, meaning that you are really mobile during the team fights. This ability is great. The damage it deals is much smaller than what you would deal with your normal auto attacks, meaning that if you would try to do what I just did right here around the inhibitor, you will deal overall less DPS than normally. You just want to use it to either go in or get out of a situation with a bit of damage, and then you can follow up with the rest of your abilities. So yeah, that's about it. One last thing I would like to say, the range of the hook is a bit, how to say it, is a bit outside of the circle. You can see, I would like to show you, but yeah, it it extends a bit further than it shows. You will usually be using this to, as I was saying, either escape to or engage. Easiest thing is when you recall, you can go ahead and find the longest distance you can on the probable inhibitor because you are going to mid lane. Wait for what you want to buy, throw the hook, quickly finish off the buying, and then go into the lane. And you've just saved some time. And lastly, Akshan's ultimate. You will charge up your weapon and fire from 5 to 7 shots, each dealing increased damage to based on missing health, and each is blockable by minions, well, basically any enemy or structures, meaning that you usually will need to find a good sideline if you want to finish someone off with this. Another thing, you will be charging up for up to 2.5 seconds, which is a lot. But you can cancel it early to fire off the already charged up shots. So if you can see someone, it also has the bar as you can see right here. So when the thing goes red, it's best to shoot because you never know what can happen. Unless you know that they have some form of heal, then you probably that they have not just used recently. Then you want to charge it up fully because, as I said, you're locked in, so you can just go anywhere you want and are safe. And yeah, you can also use your E when you're casting it, meaning that it's much harder to block than, for example, what do I say? Uh, Jin's ultimate or Caitlyn. Caitlyn is the best example because you are mobile during your casting. Action, ladies and gentlemen. With this, just I guess a quick combo I can tell you about. Uh, this is mostly when you're going for your scoundrels, which should be a bit low sometimes, just sometimes, and it's just a quick combo to finish them off. So your Q, without the extension, goes outside of your detection range from your W, meaning that you can throw out your Q, Then you want to follow up with your E with the terrain which grants you the longest distance to get to your enemy, and then you will just go ahead and auto attack them until your Q or E is ready. So it looks something like this. But the one important thing you need to know is that you need to hit your Q, which I just did not. So we're gonna do it again. Right now they do not see me. I will just die. Right now they do not see me. I shoot my Q, I E them, and I finish them off. Thank you for your attention, ladies and gentlemen. And now a bit for the gameplay. So, Akshan is I extremely love his playstyle. I mostly like his E. It is a really nice way of mobility because it is a bit predictable. They know that you are going to go in an exact way. So if they have some way of some form of CC, they can easily stop you because it is fragged. But yeah, it is a nice ability. You obviously have the cancel, and I like the ability a lot. So that's the main reason why I like Akshan. Obviously, uh, with your Q being able to extend, you have safe way of dealing damage in the team fights. And then once you feel safe to go in, you can just go in, and if you get a kill, you can go out again thanks to your E. Now, a bit about the W. The resurrection is really powerful. You probably will be using it a lot to get onto bot lane where most of the targets Akshan is able to kill early mid game are. So this is not saying anything, but he's just not great when dealing with tanks because unless you are building uh, unless you are building your true damage mythic, you just don't have a lot of ways to deal with them. But yes, you will usually get easy kills on those ADCs who just kill somebody if you are a bit thinker. Oh my goodness, I'm really good with English today. And you can just go ahead, roam there, but the thing is, Akshan does not really win 1v1s. Yes, if you get fed from those roams, you have an easy time, but usually if both you and the enemy are on the same level, same gold gain, you have a high chance to lose unless you play it perfectly and they play it bad. Meaning that you really have to be careful and go in when you are sure you can win. Because otherwise, it's just really just wasting your life. And when you waste your life as Akshan, you are wasting your team's chances to win. So that is why I would recommend you to play safe. When some of your teammates die, you may try to risk and get the kill, but only when you are confident. Another thing is your ultimate. Don't go ahead and waste it when enemy champion is near a tower, because not like getting kill with one or two shots is, in my opinion, almost impossible. Because if they are that low, you have just have much better ways of finishing them off. And if they are near tower, all the damage is going to waste because the towers obviously don't have that missing health buff. Well, does not grant a missing health buff. It's weird. So you just fire off your ultimate to nothing. Unless you really want to finish off a tower, then I guess you can do it. But that's gonna be a bit about the laning. In the late game, you always want to stay with your team, not only so you can utilize your W, but also you are an ADC. You don't want to stay alone. And lastly, for matchups, it varies. I think that if you go for that exhaust, you have a really nice way of fighting enemy assassins because you also can get your shield. You have some form of escape, even though they usually will have much more dashes than you do with that one. But it is quite okay-ish. Akshan is one of those ADCs that have a fighting chance against them because, yeah. But if you just want to go ahead, get rid of them. What I would recommend you banning on Akshan are poking champions. Reason for that is that Akshan does have a sustain. Akshan has his shield, which allows him to go for some form of traits and deal overall more damage because he can negate damage dealt to him. Problem with that is that Akshan also needs to hit 3 abilities and also has a cooldown on the passive. Meaning that if you are able to hit them 3 times before one of their poke abilities hit, you pretty much won the game already because they are useless. But they can get you pretty low, and being low on AD carry is not a nice thing. And it's also one of the reasons why the sustain build is really good, because you then have a chance to fight the poking champions. But if you're playing against something like Lux, I'm not really gonna say Zerod because you shred that guy, uh, who can poke you from distance, and then once you are low, you can't really go in safely because you do not have that much health, and if you use a lot of your abilities to get her low, you run out of mana really quickly. So that's my take for now. Maybe it will change. I am planning to play a lot of Akshan because I just love that E, man. I love it. Anyways, I will see you in the next video, and for now, Petri out.